Hey everyone, welcome back to FedBiz Exchange. I'm Michelle Brown, your coach and your mentor. And today we're going to talk about, oh my God, I won. Now what? What happens after you've been awarded a contract, but you don't know what to do? Now, some people might think, well, won't the contracting officer tell you? Yes and no. They're not very communicative. So let's get into what's going to happen specifically. I can't know about every single contracting officer or federal buyer, but generally speaking, I've worked for different agencies, I've won for different agencies, and they are all kind of the same. Some are a little bit easier to work with than others. But let me just walk through this list of items that you need to be aware of because you should be ready to win. And please understand that do not bid on something that you cannot deliver on. Okay, so make sure you have your plan together. I know I tell you guys bid, 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 but I want you to be ready because it is likely that you will win. So don't bid on something that you're not ready to deliver on, whether it's a service, whether it's a product. And yes, you can be nervous. I know you're going to be nervous, but just have everything all mapped out. Start small if you feel more comfortable, but, just make sure that you have the plan ready because you definitely could win. It's easier to win than you guys think. So, once you're awarded a contract, the contracting officer will send you notice that you've been awarded the contract. And usually, they will either send you a copy of the contract and have you to sign, or they will have more questions for you. If it's a product as opposed to a service, they might ask you for your PO numbers, or they might ask you for your item numbers, even though you put that in your solicitation on the pricing schedule. But they could ask you a few more questions just to confirm some things. But if they don't need to do that, because with DIBS, they just send you a contract. Actually, I take that back. They did ask me a couple of questions on both of the contracts. But as soon as I answered those questions, they sent me the contract. And it kind of catches you by surprise because you're thinking, okay, you're surprised. You notice that they send you an email, but the contract is attached to it, and they don't explain a whole lot. But that's okay. They're like that because they're so busy, so don't take it personal. So most of the time you will be contacted via email. Sometimes they will pick up the phone. Like I know the Veterans Administration, they will pick up the phone and call you, and they will always call the contact person, the point of contact. So the POC that you put in SAM and or on your solicitation that you submit for bid needs to be someone that is dependable. If you're the CEO and you're too busy, please make sure that there's someone that can respond, okay? Even if you have two people, one is the primary and a backup, because they will call and or they will email. All right. So the contract will likely be a copy of the solicitation. That's usually what they do, with other documents, which include the scope of work, your pricing, and the amount they're going to award you and your company for the contract. If they need you to complete paperwork for the government's invoicing system, they will let you know. Keep in mind that this information was in the solicitation, so go back and check before you ask questions. Go through the solicitation, read the entire contract, because remember what I said, the solicitation is either attached to the contract or it is the contract. For me, it was the contract a lot of times. So I suggest you read what they send you, take a moment. There's usually no rush unless it's urgent, but most of the time they'll give you a few days to look over the contract and go ahead and sign it. Write down your questions and then sign the contract, or write down your questions and then talk to the contracting officer before you sign the contract. Okay? It's up to you. You want to be comfortable with what you're doing. Once you've reviewed everything, you've gotten your questions answered, and you're comfortable, you've signed the contract, you need to go ahead and return it to the contracting officer. Usually you can return it via email unless they tell you otherwise. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, just ask the question, would you like me to return this to you via email? Make sure you keep a copy. Some invoicing systems with the government require you to upload a copy of your contract, so make sure you keep a copy of that. If it's urgent for you to get to work right away or for you to deliver the products right away, the contracting officer will let you know. If that's not clear, you need to ask, because remember, they're not going to tell you things that you don't ask them about. They really are horrible at assuming that we know everything. Even me, I am a walking government contracting encyclopedia, and I don't know everything. But I had to learn that that's their responsibility, and we need to be comfortable enough to ask. Nobody else knows the answers to those questions. So, no question is a stupid question. Just do your due diligence by reading before you ask the question. Your information will be posted in fbo.gov and FPDS as an award winner. It's public information. The contracting officer will communicate with you almost always via email, and you should do the same. Document everything. Write your questions via email. You can talk on the phone, but document everything and keep your files orderly. That means all emails need to be organized and attached to the actual contract, because remember, you're going to have more than one contract. You need to be organized, and you need to have good administration management, or administrative management, excuse me, and you need to pay attention to who's who and what's what. And if you have employees that will be helping you, make sure that they have good grammar, make sure that they know how to write emails, make sure that they know how to communicate and follow up. All of those things are really important to your past performance, believe it or not, because it's called past performance, but you are performing at this time. You will likely continue to work with the contracting officer that you're working with that awarded you the contract. But if there is going to be a project manager or a COR in charge of working with you, the contracting officer will let you know. If you have any issues with deliverables or anything as such, let your contracting officer know, or whoever it is that you're working with, but always be ready with the solution to fix the problem. And remember, this again is your past performance. Guard it with your best intentions. And I wish you the best.